Welcome to a video on my 5 favourite army rosters for Rome Total War. This is taking custom battles and campaign into consideration. What is a roster? Well, you can see this on the custom battle menu. The selection of units that is visible to that faction is the roster. So you can see here, Carthage. It's got some good elephants, and it does have good slingers. I am counting mercenary units in this as well if they appear in custom battle. So those slingers are very, very good, as you can probably see by my Carthage let's play. Their cavalry is okay as well. However, they've got a very major weakness, and that's in their infantry. Their infantry is terrible. Iberian infantry have horrible morale and cannot stand up against Hastati. Then the next tier is Libyan spearmen, which can usually stand up against Hastati, but you know, their spearmen unit, they do still take a lot of casualties. Then of course you get Pauline infantry and the Sacred Band, which are decent, but compared to what the Romans are going to get at that point, they're just going to really struggle. So in 5th place we have Carthage. Some good stuff there, elephants that I like, but there's a lot of weaknesses as well. And that's how this video is going to work. Number 4. Pre-Marian Rome. So I've decided to split Rome up into 2, pre-Marian reforms and post-Marian reforms. Pre-Marian reforms give you Town Watch, Hastati, Principes and Triarii, but the cavalry is kind of weak. In fact, it only gives you light cavalry and that's it. It's only once you get to post-Marian that you get heavy cavalry. Overall, the roster does have decent infantry for its era, but everything else is quite poor. Bad cavalry, bad range units, well, not too bad, but they're not great either, compared to what you're going to be up against. Overall, I thought 4th place was a good spot for pre-Marian Rome. It is powerful in its infantry, but overall, it makes you very reliant on just one unit type, and if the enemy brings something that can counter it, then you're doomed. Number 3. The Greek city-states. I love playing the Greek city-states. They've got their hoplites, they've got Cretan archers, they've got decent cavalry as well, it's not too bad. Now my main issue with Greece is more of a mental issue, which sounds weird. What I mean by that is they are a very repetitive faction. You've got decent hoplites, archers and cavalry, but your strategy, because your hoplites are phalanx units, is very similar every battle. Use your archers, pick off some units with the cavalry and just defend with the hoplites. There's not that much aggression. Every battle you're sort of turtling it, and that is something I do kind of enjoy, but eventually it does get repetitive. I don't know, where would you put this one on this list? 2 honourable mentions now, and first of all is for Scythia. I personally hate missile cavalry and cavalry based factions. I like cavalry in my army, but if there's a faction dedicated to it, I don't like it. If this is your playstyle, Scythia is good for you, and it definitely does have a lot of good strengths. But for me personally, I don't like it, so that's why it's only an honourable mention. Honourable mention number 2, Bronze Age Egypt. This one is an honourable mention but not on the main list for one simple reason, and that's because of its uniqueness. It's so unique that the Bronze Age units do not fit in with the other units on the map, and they are kind of terrible in battle. But because it is unique, it does make it fun and an interesting faction to play. You've got your, usual phalanxes, but it also has some desert axemen in there, so it's not too repetitive, you can actually be a bit more aggressive. Decent cavalry and chariots, which are usually quite fun to play with. And then you've got decent missile units as well. But overall, it's not heavily armoured, it's set in a completely different era, like by about 2,000 years. Overall, I just did not think it could be on this list, as most of the positives are just more on the entertainment side. Number 2, we have Macedon. and I ranked this one up just above the Greek city-states, and this was a really difficult choice to make, like which one is better. Here's the difference. Greeks have hoplites, Macedonians have pikemen, so the Macedonians themselves are slightly weaker, but they've got longer pikes and more units in the squad, which I think makes up for it. In a general battle, hoplite versus Macedonian pikemen, the Greeks will win, but as a human player, you have a major advantage. You can think, you can use your cavalry to take out the general. Now, let's say you've killed the general, and let's say they've killed your general as well, it's even. Both factions right now have a morale penalty. Then the Macedonians will win. Why? Because the Macedonians have longer pikes. They prod first, so then the Greek hoplites are in a position where they're thinking, oh, we're under attack and we're not attacking, time to break, and that's a massive hit on their morale. So overall, the Greeks are the best, but as a human player, if you're able to take out the general or do other stuff to lower their morale, fire flaming shots at them, charge them in the back, then Macedon becomes a pick for you. And that's the only reason why it was ranked above the Greeks. Also, I prefer Macedon's cavalry as well, that's another advantage they have. Last but certainly not least, we have number 1, the best faction roster in the game. And it's kind of obvious, given this list, it's going to be post-Marian Rome. We've covered pre-Marian Rome in 4th place, but now it's time for post-Marian. First of all, at a very early stage, you get access to Auxilia, a decent spear unit which you did not get access to with the pre-Marian units, because theirs was Triarii right at the end of the list. By the time you're training Triarii, you're probably about to enter the Marian reforms anyway, so they are kind of pointless. Although you will get some use out of them, of course. I'm not saying Triarii are completely useless, but in campaign, compared to the Auxilia are just a better spear unit, and you can get more of them, as they can be trained in almost every settlement. Then you get early legion cohorts, and eventually urban cohorts as well, which are just super tough. They're stronger than Praetorians, and they can also be trained at an earlier stage, so it's just a load more really experienced and armoured units, for not that much cost. Overall, post-Marian destroys pre-Marian any day. You also get access to heavy cavalry, different tiers of heavy cavalry as well, which is a must in Rome Total War, and your missile units are slightly better. Overall, however, the main weakness of post-Marian Rome is in their missiles still, but everything else definitely does make up for it, and it's definitely a step up from pre-Marian Rome. This was obviously going to be number 1 on this list. There's no other way this could have happened. It is just the best. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video on the top 5 rosters. I might do it for other titles as well someday, if people are interested. If you've enjoyed, please do subscribe, like and share with anyone you think may be interested. I've been MELKOR, and until the next one, goodbye.